Yesterday Merseyside, today London, a capital clash between two sides with their fair share of Wembley glory.
And still Ricky Villa, what a fantastic run, he scored! Chance for Spurs, Paul Stewart scores.
And a goal, fantastic start.
Lampard. A Wembley spectacular. A place in the FA Cup final is up for grabs. Who will prevail on Derby Day 2 at Wembley? Many of the fans arriving this evening won't have been around when Tottenham and Chelsea last clashed in the FA Cup at Wembley Stadium back in 1967. That day, 35 years ago, saw Spurs lift the trophy, but it has been 21 years since they last tasted FA Cup glory. Chelsea have been dominant at the new Wembley. Since the competition returned in 2007, they've won 3 of the 5 finals staged here. And the victors today will face Liverpool in the FA Cup final on May the 5th after their come-from-behind victory over Everton. Andy Carroll, the match winner 3 minutes from time, putting the Reds into their second cup final of the season. Today, Tottenham were the first to arrive, 8 times winners of the FA Cup. But semi-finals have been real banana skins over the last 20 years or so. Most of the Chelsea players really know their way around this Wembley Stadium, though they are superstitious and they would have preferred to get changed in the other dressing room. Didier Drogba starts today, Chelsea's Wembley specialist. Out to curb him, Ledley King, the Tottenham skipper, is fit. And Carlo Cudicini in the Spurs goal. He spent almost 10 years with Chelsea. Well, time for a brief word from the two managers, and Messrs Di Matteo and Redknapp know there's little to choose between their respective teams.
In years past, you know, Chelsea always have had the upper hand over Tottenham for many years, I think now. So, but now we feel that we're right up there, pretty much meeting on equal terms. You know, there's not much. I think we're 2 very evenly balanced teams.
I always looked forward to play against them because it creates this derby atmosphere and you know, the rivalry between the 2 clubs as well. So you know, we have a lot of players that have played many games against Spurs, and they know what it means to our supporters too.
We've played them twice this year. We've been evenly matched. We drew at home, drew away. Very little in the 2 games really between the teams. So I expect another tight and tough match.
We believe in it, and the players believe in it as well. And they're confident, and hopefully at the end we'll be where we want to be.
The FA Cup will always be special. I think it's a great day for the supporters, and it's a cup that we desperately want to try to win again at Tottenham if we can.
Well, it's a great setting on a semi-final day here at Wembley Stadium. It is contentious as to whether the semi should be played here, that reaching Wembley for the final itself should be the prize. But what you do get on semi-final day is all the fans in the stadium. The lucky ones whose team get through, maybe not all of them will get FA Cup final tickets. The atmosphere was splendid yesterday, although Matt Jackson alongside me, FA Cup winner with Everton, probably still feeling a bit of hurt from the result in the first semi-final.
I think so, and I think when it dawns on Everton today, going into the game probably as favourites form-wise, and the seeming catastrophes that have happened the other side of Stanley Park in footballing terms, it'll be a really disappointing day for them, but Liverpool played well and deserved to get to the final.
Well, in terms of the better form in this one, Chelsea are heading it, aren't they, over Tottenham?
Yes, they are indeed. Very much a question of which Spurs side turns up today. Great individual players, a good team, very good at the start of the season. Can they reproduce that here today?
Tottenham used to be the ultimate FA Cup club, but it is 21 years since the 8th and most recent of their triumphs in this wonderfully historic competition. But the Chelsea fans are used to being here, at second home almost. Winners 3 times in the 5 seasons the reconstructed stadium has been open, though in 2008, and some of these players were involved, they did lose a League Cup final here to Tottenham. Certainly going into yesterday's game, Liverpool have won the 2 Premier League meetings against Everton, so but maybe we should have sensed what was going to happen in a 3rd meeting. There's not the pointers this season, because Spurs drew with Chelsea at home in December, and at Stamford Bridge just 3 weeks ago. Two captains who've known each other since they were boys from the east end of London, the Essex border, Ledley King and John Terry. The kickoff at 6 p.m. local time hasn't pleased Chelsea. They would have liked more recovery time after this before their home leg of their Champions League semi-final against Barcelona on Wednesday. They certainly won't want extra time today. The ground staff have been working hard to prepare the playing surface after yesterday's endeavours. Amazingly, Spurs have lost their last 5 FA Cup semi-finals. The most recent 2 years ago when they went down to a Portsmouth team that was about to go down to be relegated from the Premier League. That Portsmouth team then lost to Chelsea
Number 23,
in the final.
Number 3, Gareth Bale. Number 7, Aaron Lennon. Number 8, Scott Parker. 10, Emmanuel Adebayor. 11, Rafael van der Vaart. 13, William Gallas. 14, Luka Modric. 26, skipper Ledley King. 28,
Not all the pomp and ceremony of a final here. It's very much a business match for the two teams, and let's confirm the team news for you. Ledley King, as you've seen, is fit to lead Spurs into this semi-final. Harry Redknapp has kept faith with his cup goalkeeper Carlo Cudicini, preferring him to the Premier League number 1 Brad Friedel. Cudicini, one of 3 ex-Chelsea players, along with William Gallas and Scott Parker, who's recovered from sore hamstrings. A sense of adventure, I think, Matt, for Spurs, with Aaron Lennon included on the right.
Yes, those wide areas key for Tottenham, the outlets of the pace of Bale and Lennon on the right-hand side. Parker's got a big role protecting that back four, needs to sit in there, needs to give Gallas and King a centre-half some protection. Adebayor will be looking for the service of Modric from midfield to get his goals.
Branislav Ivanovic starts a 3-match suspension for Chelsea, but John Terry continues to play with cracked ribs, and Ashley Cole, a 6-time FA Cup winner, returns from an ankle injury, as does David Luiz. Jose Bosingwa comes in at right back, and it's Didier Drogba, for whom Wembley has been a very happy hunting ground indeed. He's up front rather than Fernando Torres.
Very experienced and strong Chelsea side. Luiz and Terry at centre-half, really strong with Lampard rampaging on from midfield. Drogba loves it here and will be looking to really give a problem to King and Gallas at centre-forward.
Martin Atkinson refereed last season's final between Manchester City and Stoke, assisted by Mick McDonough and Simon Beck. Well, on the 23rd anniversary of the Hillsborough disaster, at which 96 Liverpool fans died at an FA Cup semi-final, the teams lined up in the centre circle to show appreciation, and also of yesterday's tragedy in Italy with the on-field death of the Livorno player Pier Mario Morosini.
Ladies and gentlemen, today marks the anniversary of Hillsborough, when 96 supporters tragically lost their lives at an FA Cup semi-final. We would also like to show our respects for Italian Pier Mario Morosini, the Livorno midfielder who unexpectedly passed away during a Serie B match yesterday. As such, we would now like to ask all supporters to join us in respectfully observing a moment's silence. The referee will blow his whistle to indicate both the start and finish of this moment's silence. Thank you.
have to say London hasn't covered itself in glory during that period of silence, or lack of silence as it turned out to be. I'm sure a minority, but a mindless minority. Harry Redknapp won this competition as manager of Portsmouth 4 years ago. But his team are out of sorts as far as the Premier League is concerned. Just one win in their last 8 games. Unlike Chelsea under Di Matteo, one defeat in 11 in all competitions, 8 wins. So Liverpool await in less than 3 weeks' time for the winners here. Traditional colours. It was the Blues who were beaten in the Merseyside semi-final yesterday. Chelsea trying to come up with something more successful in this London derby. Parker, who had about 18 months as a Chelsea player. Lennon. Harry Redknapp saying earlier in the week, Matt, after a home defeat by Norwich, that he didn't feel he could play with both Lennon and Bale, that it was too open. Whether that was kidology or just the way he was feeling at the time.
It was an interesting statement for sure, because he's got the ability to change it any time. When the team's flying, those are a great outlet. I think they can be open, but Spurs at the start of the season just took over everybody ahead of them, didn't they? And they were the outlets, but I can see his point, because they do get stretched, and it is a long way back on this turf.
Here's Koto, who's had a very consistent season. Carlo Cudicini actually has a couple of FA Cup winners' medals in his time with Chelsea. Not that he got on the pitch in those finals, he was the substitute goalkeeper. He did play when they were beaten by Arsenal in 2002. And the climax of this competition was staged in Cardiff as this Wembley was being constructed. But Brad Fiedel, who I spoke to before the game, expected to be a substitute. He said, if I'm required to play, I'll play, but I think it's only fair that he sticks with Carlo, which was typical of the American.
Interestingly enough, Stoke had a similar situation last year as well, with Begovic and Sorensen, and Begovic played all the league games, and Sorensen kept his place for that final. So, yeah, it was an interesting time, and always tough, but good loyalty shown, certainly, by Harry.
Forward towards the on-loan Adebayor, who's got Van der Vaart operating just behind him rather than wide on the right when he has been playing in a different system. But after a couple of pretty tight and at times fraught league meetings, Harry Redknapp, I think, has got a bit of the gambler in him and has maybe said, well, let's have a go, let's spread Chelsea wide, get the ball to Bale and Lennon and see what happens. Koto overhitting, but better to overhit than underhit. And John Terry defies pain, defies the medics. And, the rib injuries that would sideline lesser men. Van der Vaart, Parker, King. Van der Vaart wanted it played early by Koto, who didn't see him. It was a weak one in the end. Now Mata. Kalou has got more back in favour since Roberto Di Matteo took over from Andre Villas-Boas. And Walker needed to be told who and what was around him.
And that's just sometimes the sort of situation that can happen when you have a goalkeeper who hasn't played all season. Those little moments of indecision, just needs an early shout. It's all about the communication. He was well in control of the situation. Drogba had, fortunately for him, given up.
Here's Lampard, who of course is the nephew of the Tottenham manager, Harry Redknapp. Family loyalties cast aside here. David Luiz. Chelsea having to take this FA Cup semi-final in conjunction with first leg of their game against Barcelona on Wednesday in terms of team selection. Mata. Nicely guided on by Lampard to Kalou. Parker breaking up the play, they're so adept at that. Chelsea trying to get around Spurs and snaffle it back. Kalou. Now Modric, who's got so much creativity. Can he pick a pass here? He was trying to do just that for Adebayor.
Probably just had one touch too many at the end. Adebayor wanted the ball played down the right-hand channel, never came to him, and as he switched back inside, Modric had to delay that pass. Got clipped by Luiz, might have been an interesting one for Martin Atkinson to make a decision on.
It's a fairly meaty back pass by Asuakoto. With by Kudacini, flicked on by Lennon. Tottenham's 19th semi-final, Chelsea's 20th. It's extraordinary that Tottenham have lost 5 in a row since they beat Arsenal at the old Wembley in 1991. Game famed for Paul Gascoigne free kick. Some predatory instincts from Gary Lineker. And from David Luiz, but not with any great accuracy. Chelsea have already come through one London derby at Queen's Park Rangers in round 4. Here goes Drogba. No foul. Chelsea flooding players into the middle. Lampard, it was an awkward header. It's pretty gusty up where we are, Matt. I guess there'll be some of that down on the pitch, even in this steep-sided stadium.
Yeah, there will. We had a good shower. Just looked at, like Asuakoto might have had his heels clipped just in the build-up to that. But yeah, we've had a shower as well, which livened the pitch up a little bit. But Frank Lampard couldn't quite get the header directed, the ball behind him. A very cagey opening, as we'd expected. The teams know each other so well, Martin, don't they? That's the thing. They know the formations. And you talked about Harry gambling. It might just come down to who does gamble to go and win this cup tie.
King. Difficult to calculate the pass when the ball gets off the ground. Gareth Bale might be concerned from Chelsea's point of view in dealing with him that Basing was in, who's not had the happiest of seasons, but here he is on the ball. But he did play in the 0-0 at Stamford Bridge 3 weeks ago. Ivanovic, who's suspended today, was injured then. And Bale didn't get the better of him. Cole. Terry. Kalou letting it run, but when you let that go, do that sort of thing, you have to be sure that there's someone behind you.
You do. I've seen Chelsea a few times in this cup run that they've been having, and they've been better when they've utilised the wide areas. And normally it has to be the fullbacks. Ashley Cole, we know, likes to go on. Ivanovic, when he does it, has done it previously, he's helped them out. They can't batter the way up the middle of this pitch. It's not going to happen against the two experienced centre-halves that Spurs have. Scott Parker sat in front of them. I think they're going to have a hard time going through the middle. They're going to have to go around the outside at some point.
Well, to some extent, Basingwa might help them because he's a right-back who prefers to attack rather than defend. But we do expect a meeting here of fine margins. Towards Drogba, won by his old compadre Gallas. Just runs through Kai Walker doing the last act of shepherding and then getting the ball back here. Of course, is a very attacking right back as well. So it might just be who comes from deep to find a way through, but we'll see. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Could be the most open game that you could ever wish for, but that would be contrary to the way these sides have started here.
And Scott Parker's made as many challenges as anyone in the early stages of this game, trying to make his mark. Makes another one there.
Apart from Queen's Park Rangers, Chelsea's other wins have been against clubs from the Championship: Portsmouth, Birmingham City and Leicester City. Spurs also against lower league opposition Cheltenham, Watford, Stevenage, before meeting Premier League Bolton in the quarter-final. That original match, of course, was halted when Bolton's Fabrice Muamba collapsed. A story that seemingly is going to have an extraordinarily happy ending. Here's Drogba. You can certainly say he's not wasting an opportunity from that range, although Roberto Di Matteo might not share that opinion.
Well, there's enough power. Normally you think about them being that far out that they're not going to get the power in the shot. What he's trying to do is just make the ball move in some way that unsettles Carlo Cudicini. And he was a bit unsettled. He hadn't got his wall lined up properly, and he scrambled across his goal there.
There's no doubt in league football that Chelsea are a bogey side to Tottenham. They've only beaten them 3 times in the Premier League. And, all of those games were at White Hart Lane. King held up the Carling Cup here, the League Cup, when they beat Chelsea in the final of 2008. Tottenham were big underdogs that day. Here's Terry. Miscontrolled by Kalou. Walker. Now Parker. Came off Lampard. Straight to his teammate Basingwa. This is Ramirez, the Brazilian. And the other Brazilian in the Chelsea ranks, David Luiz. Doing rather better with the layoff that time. One for Cole to chase. Got forward in the Champions League quarter-final, second leg, won a penalty against Benfica. Good chase by Bale to a well-crafted pass. And he gets his cross in. It's come all the way to the other wide man, Lennon. He's not been able to just get that very easily, but Tottenham finding a bit of width. Not so much with Lennon coming into the middle, but Bale on the far side.
Well, they have to test Basingwa. You've already mentioned that, Martin. That was a smashing ball played by Modric to the outside of his foot. It was a poor cross from Bale, but just the very fact that Basingwa hardly made an effort to try and stop that cross. They're the little margins that you have to identify as a player. Right, we've got some early success. We know the player might be a bit nervous. Let's try and exploit it.
David Luiz. Made a run, he would have been offside, but Ramirez, he's got good legs. It's matched by Asuakoto. And as is often the way, the decision goes to the defender.
I think he was the favourite, though. He did well, Asuakoto. What he does, he takes the last stride well and gets his shoulder across, so there has to be a bit of contact from Ramirez. Good defending, good race, those two. We know Ramirez will run all day.
The 9th different season in which these clubs have been paired together in the FA Cup. Previous 8 have been split. 4 wins for Chelsea, 4 for Tottenham, including the final of 1967. And Drogba. Gallas wanted a free kick, and Drogba didn't realise how much time he had. For a player of that experience, that was surprising.
It has to be a foul. I know it's a tangling of legs here, but that has to be a foul for me. I would say it's an accident, but it gives him a significant advantage there. No, he's not the favourite to get the ball, and when Gallas gets clipped, he becomes the favourite. But, as you say, should have had the composure, should have had the realisation. He had an awful lot more time.
He's played less recently, Didier Drogba, than he would like. But maybe that was a spot of rustiness. It certainly was on his weaker side.
Yeah, rustiness is actually probably paying him a bit of a compliment there. That was just rank bad play, but decent first opportunity.
I'll stick up for the forwards, you stick up for the defenders. Here's Cole onto Kalou. David Luiz. Doesn't venture forward very often. He's got Lampard really in a second, more defensive midfield position, but Lampard will break off the leash sometimes. And Ashley Cole doing that several times. Drogba going in, come back Cole's way again. Mata thinking there might be someone behind him in blue, but there wasn't. It was only Gareth Bale, but he's given it nervously to Kalou, and it breaks for Mikel, and Chelsea can start again here with Basingwa winding up for the cross. Van der Vaart. Bale again stopped in his tracks, but a good early ball by Parker. And Lennon trying from the opposite flank. Van der Vaart, who can shoot from this sort of distance, recognised the potential in the position, but just hurried it a tad.
Had to hurry it because he only wanted to shoot with his left foot. The space is to his right. Lennon does well, gets across Basingwa, who's caught upfield, something we've identified. Van der Vaart all left foot. Can he open up on his right-hand side, give himself a bit more time? Wanted to go with his stronger foot, obviously.
You know, Matt, Tottenham have got a terrible away record in 2012. They only won once outside of White Hart Lane. That was at Watford in the Cup, and they were very lucky to get through that. So, although this isn't a very long journey from White Hart Lane, it does represent again being away from their heartbeat.
I'm not sure they really fancy Chelsea's opposition either, because Chelsea can beat them up a little bit. That's the one thing you think about Spurs. Smashing football inside. Can you just get at them physically a little bit? And they'll be scared of Drogba, because he has that ability to occupy an entire back four on his own.
Kalou. Terry. Mata. Kalou. Drogba. Modric, who got in with a successful challenge. Lennon skips away from Cole and couldn't skip away from Drogba, who brings him down, and Martin Atkinson immediately reaches for a yellow card.
Maybe not the worst one to take if you're the centre forward. Just good pace from them. Very cynical from Drogba. Has to be booked. Martin Atkinson gets a good view of it. It's the pace that Lennon has. It's what it gives you as an outlet.
It's not really an obvious longer ball on at this free kick. Unless this is all subterfuge to try and open Chelsea up, and he's fizzed it in the end. Adebayor, get hold of that
with your neck.
Ramirez in this battle with Asu Okoto, which is going to involve a lot of athleticism. One with no hair and one with a good
team's worth.
Head. Yeah. Roberto Di Matteo, of course, certainly had his moments in the FA Cup as a player with Chelsea. In 97 and 2000, scorer in both those finals.
He's certainly been enjoying his stint back in as assistant coach, whatever his title actually officially is, but he's certainly been enjoying interim head coach, I think it is, isn't it? Yeah. That's right. But no, he'll be enjoying it. He's done well, settled the team down.
He's just shown a bit more appreciation to the players than his the man he was assistant to, of course, Andre Villas-Boas. Here goes Bale, roaring through the gears into overdrive. And David Luiz considerably helped Basingwa out then. It's a goal kick.
That's good from Bale, though, because it scares Basingwa. He's run away from him twice now. That will scare him. So suddenly the centre-half, Luiz, is thinking, I've got to go a bit further over. I'll have to provide that cover. That allows more space for Adebayor, and then allows more space for Modric. These are the fine margins that we're talking about, just moving the offensive and defensive shapes around.
Cini wanting this, but Mata realises he's got to bring it back in or do that.
Pretty cool, wasn't it? Mata not in the game yet either. Adebayor's hardly had a touch. These are the players, big players, can change games on their own. Mata may come into the game later stages as people start to tire slightly.
Incidentally, Chelsea fans will be pleased to know that Tottenham's Louis Saha not fit today. A groin problem. He's been a scourge of Chelsea. Scored lots of goals against them, including one for Everton in an FA Cup final here 3 years ago. A goal so early it broke the previous record from Roberto Di Matteo, no less. Parker. That might come back for Parker. And in the end, Ashley Cole tucking in the nick of time. I don't think it was in Parker's mind to go for goal himself, but it nearly ended up that way.
Well, he loves a challenge, comes through a couple, and Cole does well. Completes the clearance by really fly-hacking that one behind the goal for the corner. Good to see Parker breaking forward, though. You know he can attack as well, talented player. The great signing has been by Harry.
Out swinging corner over Bale. And a chance for Ramirez to at least hold the ball to get some of his teammates up the field. Lampard working nicely with Cole. Kalou. Cole in the end, happy to get a throw out of that by Van der Vaart. Matter. 20 minutes gone. Even those who know the FA Cup inside out likely to have a nervy moment like Ashley Cole did then. Can't win it again this year, can you? Incredible.
No, it is a fantastic record that he's got. I'm sure they all mean just as much to him. Knows what a special occasion it is.
Yes, it is, Oda. I spoke to him a couple of years ago. He's had a bit of stick in this country for perhaps being one of football's mercenaries, but he did say to me in a very open conversation that what he treasures is medals, and that's what you're in it for, to win things. He's certainly won plenty. But here's Adebayor. Well spotted by David Luiz. Who read Adebayor's mind just as well for Chelsea that he did.
Yeah, great skill in the first place from Adebayor, and then just didn't have the composure at the end, and that's what we've seen a couple of times. It's interesting, you talk about nerves. These players have all played in massive occasions, some of the biggest stadiums in the world, know each other really well as personalities, and yet still just lose that bit of composure that they're all so famed for.
Yes, it's more an occasion to be nervous as semi than the final itself, really, isn't it, perversely? Because the old cliche goes, you never remember a losing semi-finalist. I think you have to be a pretty good losing finalist to be remembered as well. It's all about winning these days. Here's David Luiz and Mata, two of the newer guard at Chelsea Football Club. Period of change, some of which we've had, some of which is still to come. He had given the free kick, Martin Atkinson. Modric thought he was able just to play on. The ball was moving. Kyle Walker trying to drop it into the chest of Van der Vaart. Here's Kalou. Now Mata looking early for Drogba. Good position of play from Gallas, but it comes to Lampard. Got back on his feet very quickly, but Spurs defending well as a unit there, just squeezing the life out of that position for Chelsea. And here's Adebayor. This is where Lennon and Bale might come into play, but they're either side of the big international from Togo.
I think that's exactly how Spurs want to play. I've talked about, and we had the perfect example there, that they can't be battered through. Chelsea are not going to go through the middle of them, but they will break on you with that pace, so you compact the play at the edge of your own box and then break into the space. Could be a really good outlet today for Spurs.
Modric. Goes Van der Vaart. Well, Spurs had the ball. I think that free kick has rather handicapped them. It's gone their way.
It was definitely a high foot, but Martin Atkinson and the previous free kick as well, it's a very high foot, in fact. But just let the play, it's only a heartbeat, and it's just a half a second and you see the play develop.
Here's Adebayor. He has been making goals as well as scoring them in his loan spell from Manchester City. Walker decides not to shoot. Van der Vaart will shoot. Lampard recognised that fact. Another attempt with the left foot of the Dutchman. Van der Vaart. And they're crowded out. In goes Parker, typically and successfully, typically. Here's Lennon. Can come on his right foot here, Aaron Lennon. Corner.
And just looking to wrap his foot round it. Never really quite in control at the end, but look at the pace to create the space. Wants to jink onto that right foot and wrap his foot around it. Doesn't really manage to do it, but does create the set piece. Parker saw the challenge was tough with Frank Lampard. Almost tackled with his knees as he slid in. Two good professionals. Yeah, it is with his knees. Takes a good contact. Certainly not going to shirk too many.
Van der Vaart with a corner. Oh. And Czech was wondering, and I was worrying for him, because he touched towards the goal and he'd have been helpless. He was covered by that near post. Free kick to Tottenham. On Bale. To bruise up that thigh.
Might be Bissingham's best challenge, that one. Get the knee into the fleshy part. Someone who's going to give you a bit of a run round in the afternoon.
Not something that's going to worry him at the moment, Gareth Bale, but might if he sits down at half-time and stiffens up for the second half. Still rubbing away at the sore part. Anyway, it's a free kick that he's earned. King is forward. Van der Vaart takes it. Defended by Drogba, is pretty good for a forward at that sort of thing. Walker's caught out by Kalou. Mata trying to keep pace. Has kept pace. Ball's on for Mata! It was a great pass. Maybe just a couple of inches too much for Mata on the stretch.
It was a fantastic pass. Absolutely great pass, and he just took a chance, Mata running in. Again, we saw Van der Vaart earlier on take the ball with his left foot. I think Mata might be able to reach and take this one with his right foot.
Walker. It's a fine ball to Adebayor from Van der Vaart. Made possible. Adebayor acknowledges it, but made possible by his own movement. Just pulling away into space between centre-back and full-back. It's led to the Tottenham corner. Interesting, the goals that happened yesterday were really down to quite elementary errors by experienced individual players, telling you again about the stress of a semi-final. We've seen one or two here, but no goals from them so far. Van der Vaart's waiting for, but he's ready now. It's Lennon. Drogba. It's a good contest this, because Kyle Walker is very, very fleet of foot. In fact, it wasn't a contest in the end. He really overpowered Ramirez, and Ramirez fouled him.
And he did well, gets the arm out, but he's not fouling him. Actually gave him a bit of a yard start as well. Good defending. Really maturing well, isn't he?
Now, member of the England squad and hoping for European involvement in the summer. Here's Adebayor. Lennon. Can he get a cross in here? Chelsea trying to deny him that luxury. Parker. Looking for a give and go. Lampard, who's famed for his goals, he's got 150 in the Premier League alone, but has got such a shrewd football brain that he can do the reading of situations like that so easily and so successfully.
It is amazing when you see him play. People talk about how well they're finishing and they need to be phased out, but he still covers every inch, and you see them counter-attack, and it's him that wants to break forwards. He's so clever, always available.
He's up in this attack with Ashley Cole, who's on the ball. Cuts it back for Drogba, who was trying maybe to tee up Lampard. Still falling Chelsea's way and Kalu's way. Lampard. Now Basingwa. And Drogba's offside. And Gallas got in the way of the shot. Flag went up.
He has to pull off into those positions, Drogba. That is where he will get a lot of joy. Pulling off onto the shoulder on the left-hand side, trying to get on Gallas's blind spot. Just so narrow. And we see the break previously. Mata doing really well at the top of the screen. The time of the ball's perfect, and I think he should take this with his right. Stretches with his left, doesn't he? Has plenty of time.
Cudicini could have actually been totally stranded. He could have walked it into the net, Mata, if he'd taken it with his right foot, but ifs and maybes don't count in the FA Cup. Here's Kalu.
I like the pace of the game, though. Certainly the sides aren't sitting back in, just making it an attritional one. They are trying to play. It's a bit tight at times. Lots of good athletes out there, but there's certainly a good pace to proceedings.
In the league game, was pretty even for this sort of stage, but Spurs came very strong in the latter stages of both halves. We'll have to see whether that occurs here before half-time, but here's Kalu. Oh, and it's not far away from Drogba. In fact, it wasn't his touch, it is a corner.
He will always be a threat. The two centre-halves get around him, but it takes two of them. He's so strong once he's jumping against you. Really, really tough physical prospect.
So Lampard to take the corner. Of course, Chelsea know all about Carlo Cudicini's strengths and his weaknesses. It's handed away almost Drogba-like by Adebayor, back defending Cole. Cleverly done. Basingwa through a bit of chasing. David Luiz there to help him. Chelsea trying to get onto the front foot again. Mata. Here's Drogba. He's out here. Tottenham don't have to worry about him in the middle. They do have to worry about Kalu. Probably would have been a corner, but Asio Koto volleys it over a sideline. Roberto Di Matteo, of course, has been a manager before at West Bromwich Albion and MK Dons, but really very inexperienced compared to his opposite number. Very quickly let it go.
He just seems to have shown more faith in his players than Andre Villas-Boas did, didn't he? I think that's the secret. He knows they're good players, and he's allowed them to go and play. And I know Villas-Boas, it seemed, tried to fight them a little bit to get them to do things their way, but you've got experienced players who know the way around the system and know each other inside out. Sometimes you just have to let them get on with it.
All the talk about trying to make the average age of the squad that much younger. You can't upset all the old guard in one sentence. I would have thought the smart move would say, well, there are people at this club who think we should be making some changes, but I don't. But obviously you've got to prove that to me that I'm right and they're not.
Take you've applied, that's very diplomatic.
Job done.
You're on the short list.
So just over 10 minutes to go to half-time. An intriguing match, played, as Matt says, at a good tempo. Slightly different strategies. Tottenham, you feel, will be quite happy for Chelsea to come onto them, so they can pick moments like, perhaps not so much that. That was the two strikers, two furthest forward through the middle, trying to combine Adebayor and Van der Vaart, rather than the two wingers, Lennon and Bale. Mikel. Mata wanting it back again. Ramirez is ahead of him. He looks for Drogba. Played by King. By David Luiz. Now the Tottenham voices get louder when Modric and Lennon get on the ball. Lennon needs a bit of help here, though. Well played, Aaron Lennon. Bale. That's great play by Lennon. Oh, and he needed to cut it back, perhaps with his left foot, but either way, with much more power. Wonderful opportunity was wasted. He got into a great position in brilliant style. Here's Ashley Cole on the outside of Kalou. Kalou's going to shoot, and it wasn't such a good position as it was at the other end a few seconds earlier, but shows the ebb and flow of this second FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah, Lennon did really well. Bit of contact as well, credit him, and a pull. At some point, wingers will be going down there. Doesn't, and at this point, he's a real favourite. There's no one around him, and he's taken a stride. And well, I think he could have almost have set himself onto his right foot to shoot there as well. He had that much time available.
Adebayor showing some individual skills of his own. Power, pace, touch. Needs a final ball now. It'll come to Lennon. Van der Vaart off the line. John Terry was covering. Heroic contribution from the Chelsea captain. Back with Parker, though. Chelsea have more defending to do here. Adebayor, who started it all off, just denied at the far post.
That was the most composure shown in the penalty area. Adebayor, very good and clever. Picks the right pass, a miss header. Look at the good defensive position. John Terry right on the line, takes her on the knee. Good experience, good defending.
Now Chelsea might be able to break after Asir Okoto lost possession. A scuttling run from Mata. Switch of play might be on. But Spurs getting into Chelsea, especially through Parker. Terry. Kalou. Mata. Here's Mikel. Singer again. Supposed to toss it in. Oh, and round the back comes Kalou! Challenged by Kyle Walker. The two centre-backs weren't sure. The right-back, fortunately for Tottenham, was on guard.
Walker does brilliantly, really, really well. Little hint of an offside. He's got a lot of ground to make up. Does go back in. Gallas appealing for offside. I think he may have had a point. Great challenge, Walker.
So it's another Frank Lampard corner. And Chelsea trying to crowd Cudicini. Good touch away by Bale. This was the needy knees of John Terry.
Peter Cech well beaten, but he made ground to go in there. He's not ended up there just as a fluke. Really made ground to get back in as Adebayor played the ball past him. Great natural defending instincts.
By an odd fluke of the fixture list, Matt. Chelsea scheduled to play Liverpool at Anfield on May the 5th. Well, that won't happen because Liverpool will be here on May the 5th. Will they be playing Chelsea? We still don't know.
You can just have a double header if they do.
3 points and a silver pot on the line. Here's Terry. Drogba won't get that.
Funnily enough, Liverpool really need the silver pot, and Chelsea probably really need the 3 points.
Yeah. Yes, at the moment, it's a toss-up which is the more difficult for Chelsea to get into the Champions League next season by making up the ground to finish in the top 4, or by beating Barcelona and either Real Madrid or Bayern Munich to qualify as holders. Well, I would say it's a nice problem to have. Here's Modric. Walker. Van der Vaart. Adebayor trying to get in. Oh, and it's gone all the way and hit the post. A real scare for Chelsea. Adebayor, the distraction. And here's Kalou. And yet again, Tottenham going in through Scott Parker's almost ridiculous bravery. How he doesn't pick up match-ending injuries. And he does that. Spurs encouraged by that nearly moment in their last attack. Here's Modric. Adebayor. Van der Vaart. Adebayor, lovely touch. Check looked for handball, but not really from the Tottenham players. Lennon. Spurs still ring-fencing Chelsea around the edge of their own penalty area. Thanks to a shrewd touch from Mata, they should get out. Drogba, maybe as well his power. And that will be a free kick well gained by Didier Drogba. Van der Vaart with a really teasing ball here.
Oh, it's horrible for Czech because he can't commit himself to it. Van der Vaart comes within just a hair's breadth. The ball ricocheted off. And Adebayor will be disappointed because he should be making contact with that. No, he's trying to. He's in a good enough position. He's not at full stretch.
Well, we'll never know. A glancing contact and it might well have been a goal. It could have easily gone straight to Czech off Adebayor, but Van der Vaart. Would have been his goal.
I think Harry can be really pleased with his Spurs side at the moment. For me, they've got more dimensions to their play. They've got more outlets. They're a more fluid formation. They're creating chances. Chelsea have got power and not a great deal else. They've been very, very up and down the pitch, the middle areas, haven't they? Hardly any width at all. They've got no real pace to counter-attack. Now, they will score from a set-piece or a Drogba header, but I can't see them creating anything directly from the midfield areas.
I've seen a lot of them under Di Matteo, Matt, and they have been like this in many of the games, and of course they've only lost the one, and that was a difficult game away to Manchester City when they were in front, actually. So they do find ways to get the results. Hasn't been as obvious as it perhaps is of Tottenham's way as they seek the victory here. Cole. They do have so much experience of big games in the Chelsea ranks. Drogba. Oh, magnificent! Wembley is his ground again. The glory here is Didier Drogba's. And of all his Wembley goals, that's by far the best.
Well, did I mention they had power? They certainly have power, but this is about a lot more than that. Great physical strength. Gallas gets himself isolated one-on-one, which is difficult. But the strength and the quality of the shot does well, because he gets him there, his favourite. Once he takes that good touch, Gallas clawing at him. Cudicini really has not seen that at all. Will not be expected to get beaten from here with that left foot. Wow, that is an unbelievable strike.
Well, you're seeing Chelsea present, beating Chelsea past here. Gallas and Cudicini. An astonishing FA Cup semi-final goal. Astonishing in all but one respect. No surprise that it's Didier Drogba on this ground. He was made to play here.
Certainly was, and when you see him as a focal point of your attack, the strength that he has, just chasing a long ball, got himself so early into position, that was the secret. But you have to have some ability to produce a shot like that.
Well, as we were saying, they find ways. But I don't think we could have predicted that. That was maybe Drogba 4 or 5 years ago. Some talk that this will be his last season as a Chelsea player. But you never know after moments like this, and if he carries them through, he's got Barcelona. At least certainly he'll be in the squad for Barcelona. He might not be in the team. Here's Mata. Ashley Cole. The back heel for Mata. Asuakoto. Oh, and Kudachini wasn't sure. It was hardly a back pass. He couldn't take that risk. Just ran off Asuakoto to the goalkeeper. Chelsea get it back again. Tottenham are on the rack here with Ramirez. Oh, and might have been an own goal. It's a corner. Ledley King calling for more. He knows his team are in trouble. They really want the half-time whistle now.
Yeah, they do. It's a bit of discussion of tactics. It's frustrating, must be frustrating for Harry, because he'd be pleased with how his team have played and to come undone there. But what they now have to find a way is to get back into the game early, because Chelsea are quite happy to win 1-0 at this point, aren't they? They're happy to be strong, they're happy to be resilient defensively, just get the job done.
We're into the one added minute before half-time. A Lampard corner. Drogba full of adrenaline. Gonna get up for it and power in a second. When the two clubs met in the League Cup final, Drogba gave Chelsea the lead and Tottenham won 2-1. So Spurs fans around the world, do not lose heart.
No, but I just feel, sorry Martin, I just feel they're a bit more fragile, aren't they, at the moment? That's the trouble. That's where you get knocked. When they've been playing well before, at the start of the season, they've scored and they've gone on to dominate games. Now, they've played well and now they're behind and they have to deal with it.
Well, Van der Vaart curled one against the post, which was really a pass for Adebayor. Hit the frame of the Chelsea goal. Just before Drogba smashed Chelsea into the lead. Prior to that, John Terry cleared off the line also from Van der Vaart when Czech was beaten. But in this London derby of an FA Cup semi-final, it's the side from the southwest of London that leads the team from North London at half-time by 1 sumptuous goal to 0.
Live SPL this weekend on Setanta Sports. On Saturday night, it's St Johnstone versus Dundee United. And then Sunday night, Motherwell host the new champion Celtic. Live SPL this weekend on Setanta Sports. South American football with the Copa Libertadores on Setanta Sports.
There's no better bet than a sporting bet. Place a head-to-head bet on the AFL. If your team wins by 30 points or more, you win a 20% bonus. So if your team wins big, you win big. For AFL, there's no better bet than a sporting bet.
Two London rivals coming out at Wembley for the second FA Cup semi-final. Tottenham and Chelsea had drawn both their Premier League games so far this season. Drogba back in, a Wembley specialist, Matt. Not so special there.
Not at all. I think it's a foul here. I really do. Gallas is clear favourite, gets clipped. He's never scored a left foot volley at Wembley with that sort of technique, is he?
Not yet. Tottenham looking to counter-attack, having brought Aaron Lennon into the team. And, Van der Vaart with a very early shooting chance, trying to make an instant impact.
Spurs will be better on the counter-attack because of the pace. Lennon and Bale will be better. Van der Vaart lacking a bit of technique on that left foot. Gave himself some space, but they played well, Spurs.
They've got Van der Vaart on the ball fairly regularly, and Aaron Lennon's been allowed to stray from the right-hand side. But having set himself up quite cleverly on the right foot, his shot was deflected for a corner.
Yeah, wants to cut in, and once he cuts in, Chelsea are always going to get bodies around, which leads to the deflection. But they were quite open.
A mistake there by Kyle Walker, and Kalou. Watch Mata coming into the picture up there. Might have made more of that.
Definitely has to make more of it. It's a poor mistake in the first place. Walker's quick, but he's not that quick. But Mata does well, because Kalou just plays the ball at perfect time, but he's got so much time. I just think he goes for it with his wrong foot. Take the time for it to come across on your right foot, and you pretty much roll this into the back of an empty net.
Well, this was a real scare for Chelsea, set up by some powerful individual work from Angel Adebayor. First header by Van der Vaart didn't threaten, comes back from Lennon, then Van der Vaart must have thought he was scoring. John Terry behind the goalkeeper. He certainly wasn't over the line despite the Van der Vaart appeals.
And it was the most composure that had been shown in either box. Yeah, both teams are just trying to pick out the right pass. So Van der Vaart maybe should do better with the header. But Lennon has some composure. Van der Vaart follows up. John Terry, as he's done so many times over the years, defends fantastically well to keep his side in the game.
Well, Didier Drogba's lurking in an offside position here, but the ball actually doesn't come to him. And had Kalou been allowed to get in there, I think the goal would have stood, but Kyle Walker reacted very well, and people say he can only attack, but that was a very good piece of defending.
Very good, because he has an awful lot of ground to make up. Yeah, definitely offside as well. Kalou even going back in there. He does well. Walker goes off his feet. They are the ones that officials need to get right. It is important, these phases of play that they talk about, but such an advantage if you're a yard on offside to start with.
Well, look at Adebayor's movement here. That was what attracted Van der Vaart, but the ball went past Adebayor, past Jack, and back into play off the goalkeeper's right-hand post.
That's a great ball, and he is trying to pick him out with that pass, and I actually think Adebayor should do better. He needs to make some sort of contact. OK, they're unlucky and shave the post, but he really should be making contact with that ball himself. Yeah, he knows what a good chance it was, Harry Redknapp.
But here is the authentic Didier Drogba, the Wembley version. 2 minutes to go to half-time. Brilliant.
Well, I made the point a few times that they lack width, Chelsea. But if you've got Didier Drogba, why bother going wide? It's a long ball from Frank Lampard. He does well, he dominates Gallas physically. But, well, you cannot stop this. Cudicini thinks he's well set, doesn't even flinch as that ball flies past him. Fantastic finish.
So by that splendid strike, Chelsea lead their London rivals, Tottenham Hotspur, 1-0 at half-time. The right to play Liverpool in the FA Cup final. So welcome back to Wembley Stadium. We may be halfway through the second FA Cup semi-final. Spurs will hope they can at least get level with Roberto Di Matteo's Chelsea and maybe extend it to extra time. It's the last thing Chelsea want. They've got Barcelona just round the corner. The first leg of another semi-final, a Champions League semi-final, of course, on Wednesday. The one goal from Didier Drogba, who scored in the 2009 semi-final win over Arsenal, scored in the 2010 semi-final win over Aston Villa, and has scored the only goal so far of the 2012 semi-final against Spurs. Van der Vaart, who's hit a post and had a header cleared off the line, getting Tottenham underway in the second half. With ground to claw back. Otherwise it will be a sixth consecutive semi-final failure when Spurs have got to the last four of this famous and fantastic competition. Dallas. Fairly ambitious kick by Cudicini. Oh, and Ramirez is a slip by King, and Ramirez is away, and Chelsea have got three in the middle. Cudicini comes and takes very well. Never been one of the taller goalkeepers at this level, but he's been very agile.
Once again, we've talked about players just maybe can run that in. Why is he not running towards the goal? It puts so much pressure on when you're running in towards the goal. Players can't commit to tackling it. Just fires in a cross that can't really be dealt with by his own team there, Ramirez.
That could have been a really bad moment for Spurs to ship a second goal so early in the second half. Chelsea have got their defensive discipline back. I think that happened before Andre Villas-Boas was sacked. They did start the season very cavalier, playing with a high line and trying to provide perhaps a more entertaining brand of football. Owner Roman Abramovich allegedly was asking for. But when they were scoring 3, the opposition was scoring 5, so had to be tightened up, and that will be an important part of the second half from Chelsea's point of view. Now that they have banked the opening goal.
You certainly would fancy them more than Spurs to protect a 1-0 lead. I think they have more experience doing it. I think they're better set up to do it. Spurs are going to have to deal with the fact that they'll be disappointed that they're behind as well as they did play in the first half. They weren't exceptional, but they were certainly quick enough and they created opportunities. Just think they're a bit fragile at the moment.
There's a good atmosphere to the first half. It might even be better in the second half because the teams are attacking the end where their supporters are. So Chelsea fans will have a good look at this. A fine save by Cudicini from Juan Mata, who struck it sweetly with his left foot when it broke to him with Drogba's touch.
It's a great save because he has to move his feet quickly as well. He's expecting the shot to actually come from Drogba, who stretches for the ball. That's a fantastic save. It's a really strong left hand.
More of an outswinger from Lampard this time. David Luiz, and Cudicini's there again. Can they force it in? Oh, they're claiming, Mata's claiming it's a goal, and it's been given.
It's a foul, this. It's a foul. John Terry, watch John Terry in the replays. Comes flying in. Has to be a foul.
Wembley controversy here. Van der Vaart leads the protest. Walker's there. Spurs want Martin Atkinson to talk to Mick McDonough.
Well, I think they're arguing maybe about the ball being crossing the line, whether it did cross the line. Martin Atkinson doesn't want anything to do with it. I mean, they obviously have the headsets. But the ball's up in the air. Watch Terry. That's a foul. And that's just a foul. And the ball, well, did the ball go anywhere near crossing the line?
And Terry was trying to force it in. Mata's appealing. Well, the old stadium saw plenty of controversy. I think we've had something here that's going to be replayed over and over again.
Well, the referee's assistant can't make a decision on whether this ball is over the line. Impossible to do. And Martin Atkinson, not giving the John Terry challenge as a foul, gives himself a problem now because he's embroiled in this controversy. He wouldn't have seen that either. We've looked at it in replay, have no idea if that ball's crossed the line at all.
It is Tottenham 0, Chelsea 2. And the second goal that they nearly conceded a couple of minutes earlier, right at the start of the second half, has come, but in the most contentious of manners. Mikel. Here's Mata. Lampard. Mikel. Drogba first time, met by King. It's hard to know what Tottenham were protesting about the most. John Terry's challenge or whether the ball was over the line. I must say I was very surprised, even just seeing it the first time. Sometimes you learn just to trust your first reaction, that a goal was signalled.
We talk about it being contentious, but the John Terry challenge, yes, he's entitled to go for the ball, but he launches himself and he takes out the defender and the goalkeeper as a result of it. I mean, that's fairly blatant to me.
Here's Bale crossing on the run.
So if the referee makes the right decision in the first place, it doesn't become a contentious situation.
Here's Mata. Ramirez will get there first. Kalou getting into the middle. Drogba on the edge of the area, wants to be teed up. Ramirez hasn't really seen him. And Drogba puts his hands to his head in disappointment, and then turns around. He's a good club man, Didier Drogba, and then goes to Ramirez off screen and sorts it out. Let's have another look at this, Matt.
When you make a decision there, we don't know. I don't think it crosses the line from where Asuikoto is there, and I certainly know that they don't know to be able to give that.
Well, they're communicating again. But Chelsea on the front foot. Mata. Pretty sure it didn't go over the line directly from Mata. It was a body, it might have been John Terry's on the line. That goal might be reallocated. We'll have to wait and see. Here's Kalou. It's been a tough time the last few weeks for officials. I guess it was always thus, but
yeah, but find a way to get the big decisions right. And I think, I know we've harped on about it, but give the foul and you don't get yourself in that position.
Yeah.
You think goal line technology might have got a mention over the years, mightn't you?
Here's Gareth Bale. Spurs have got to dig deep now. And sometimes, you know, when you have something go against you like that, it finds a fire that wasn't previously lit. Sense of indignation, a burning feeling of injustice.
It's a long way back though against this Chelsea side. Looking at scoring 2 just to take it to penalties, extra time and penalties is tough.
And in pursuing that goal, the chances of the back door being left open. Mata is lifting it beyond Parker cleverly. It could be in again, Chelsea here. Kalou. Oh, and he gave it weakly to Drogba. And Spurs sees the chance to power forward with the hard-running Walker. Now Van der Vaart. Bale. Asuikoto's onside. Blocked by Basingwa. Asuikoto settles for the corner. Tottenham fans find their voices.
They need something quick. They need a reaction. Harry's got to get something from his players. I'm not sure he can make too many personnel changes either. That's an issue for him. They've got to keep playing their way, but they need a goal quickly.
With King and Gallas going forward, everyone's back for Chelsea, which is normal. Roundabout takes David Luiz with that bushy head. Heads it back to Asu Akoto. Can Tottenham set up for a shot here? Lennon maybe? No. Here we go again. Looks like the referee's giving the goal.
There is a reason, though, that there's a pile of bodies lying in that goal.
All those protests from Tottenham in vain. The celebrations are with Chelsea, but Modric, the brave effort. And Tottenham need gallantry beyond the call of duty, even here. But Chelsea are playing with hunger and appetite as well. They want to really make this their semi-final. Drogba taking on Walker. He's got the cross in, Asokoto, and we head it up in the air. Gallas is there. We're collected by Modric. It's a well-crafted pass for Parker. Through the middle for Adebayor. Can he go round the goalkeeper? He goes down. It's a tap-in for Gareth Bale. Martin Atkinson could give the goal. And Tottenham respond in the grand manner. What's he going to do here? The referee, is he just sorting out the stricken Chelsea player? There was certainly a risk of a red card, but the goal has overruled that. The goal-scoring opportunity wasn't denied.
It wasn't denied, but if you're Spurs, do you take a gamble on the goalkeeper sent off and then having the penalty? This looks like a serious injury, by the way. So don't want to be too, but it's a great goal. It's a lovely ball, threaded, poor defensive play from Chelsea. The two centre-halves are wide open. That was going to be a sending off for sure. Great ball from Parker. Bale following up, sticks the ball in.
Yes, it was David Luiz who was stricken really in the chase, pulled up lame. And you could say, fortunately for Petr Cech, the ball rolled to Gareth Bale, who rolled it into the net.
Yeah, he's not been in the game very much, Bale. What a fantastic match we have now. Great for the game, really great for the game. Chelsea are going to have to make this change. It's going to have to be a structured job, I imagine.
No, they're still looking pretty grim about the goal that is now the difference between the two sides. Roberto Di Matteo's got some thinking to do. And of course, this is not just about this semi-final for David Luiz, it's the Champions League semi-final as well. He's reacting as if it's a hamstring.
Yeah, I saw him indicate when he was lying that straight away he'd said something had pulled or torn. Adebayor did really well, again used his body well. Bale has the tap-in.
Well, they've shown big hearts here, Tottenham Hotspur. It's their fans that you can hear. As David Luiz is put on this stretcher. Well, there are more twists and turns to come, I can tell you.
Yeah, they needed that from a belief point of view. They needed the confidence that they could score a goal, Spurs, because they'd had a decent reaction, but I never really felt they believed they could create a goal. And it's a poor goal from Chelsea, really poor. The two centre-halves, John Terry, he shouldn't allow that gap to be between himself and Luiz. It shouldn't be there. We know about Luiz, we know some people think he's flaky, and I've seen enough indication to think that way myself. Obviously, not nice to talk about that side of the game when he's getting carried off here, but they aren't rock solid, and that's just a straight ball between your centre-halves, not acceptable.
Well, Gary Cahill knows plenty about Wembley from his time as an England player. Actually scored at the end that he's now defending in England's last match against the Netherlands, end of February. Well, it is certainly game on now. Mikel. King's header. Lampard. Can Tottenham really make the tide turn here? Mata. Drogba tries to hit back in the only way that he knows, by going for goal.
So he gets himself isolated again. It's Gallas that he's picking on. It's Gallas he wants to be one-on-one with. Obviously thinks he can get some sort of change out of it.
So Frank Lampard to take this Chelsea corner. And Terry's in there again. And Spurs get it away. Well, this time, would you believe, it's a free kick, Matt.
Yeah, look, he's actually stood here. Okay, he's pushing, but he's not on the run, really. That is a foul as well. Ledley King, good experience, getting his body in the way. I don't know, it's frustrating. It is so frustrating when you're a player that the big decisions are got wrong, and especially if there's something simple in the build-up to it. And I don't know, I know we see it again, but I saw that in real time. You see, he comes too far, Terry.
Here's Parker.
He just comes too far to make the challenge, doesn't he? I don't know, it just defies logic sometimes, and especially when they have that good a view.
Well, it was a double whammy for Tottenham, but to their credit, they've cleared their heads. They've scored a goal. They're very much back in the semi-final. Well, the scorer of it. It really is edge of the seat time for the 85,700 plus crowd here. There's still at least half an hour to go.
And everybody stood up. There's not even any seating taking place.
Well, you and I on the edge of our seats.
Oh, it's a fantastic semi-final. It's a great game of football, and certainly a superb atmosphere in this brilliant stadium.
Basingwa's throw. Drogba. And again. Basingwa. And snapping in. Van der Vaart. Lampard doing well in the, if you like, the Parker role for Chelsea. Cole. Well, it was 2-1 in the other semi-final. Liverpool beat Everton yesterday. Matters were a bit more clear-cut, though. You know, the winning goal came much later than the scores that we've had here. Here's Basingwa. Chini wanting to turn defending into counter-attacking straight away, and Lennon's a useful outlet in that sense. Walker's flying up the outside, but Lennon exploring the avenues infield. Adebayor. Lennon. It's top stuff, this from Tottenham. Walker. Adebayor. Can he get them level? It's blocked by Terry. Comes out to Mata. Chelsea chance to probe here. Drogba. And, for the umpteenth time, Scott Parker. Some players will get there and jockey. He somehow manages to get there and get his foot in. And he does it all the time.
Really shrewd signing from Harry, who certainly knows how to spot a player, but he needed a player like that for Spurs. They needed a bit of steel about them. Lots of creation, lots of quality, lots of individual skill. You have to have someone to do the grit and the graft.
You know, when he was a youth player at Charlton Athletic, his first club, he was a creative, attacking midfield player, Scott Parker. Somebody said you'll have to tackle a bit more to make it in the top level. And he's never stopped tackling since.
He's probably created nothing either.
It was his ball through the middle for Adebayor. Well, it won't matter so much, the so-called matter goal, if Tottenham can turn this round, but at the moment it is still the heat of controversy here.
I think he'll still got to mention in the after-match interviews, don't worry about that.
Here is Parker trying to create. Walker, Parker. First football from Spurs. Walker. Another lively Lennon. Walker's cross. December trying to shepherd it out. She's able to do, and almost a moment for both teams to draw breath. 20 minutes gone in the second half.
Well, the one thing that controversial goal did do was mean that Spurs had to open themselves. They had to be expansive, and they just had to go and play, had to find a way to get a goal. Sometimes when you're chasing one goal to get back in the game, you're not quite so open, because you obviously don't want to concede the other end as well. At 2-0, they just think, well, you know, essentially we've probably lost. We've just really got to go for this now.
Nerves are getting to Chelsea. Right underneath the clearance for Sir Petr Cech. Mata. Lampard. Chelsea trying to restore a bit of order, some composure in midfield. Slow the game down a little bit. Tottenham are playing their best football in the match at the moment. Mata, who had a slow start to this semi-final, has been very involved in the middle third of the 90 minutes. Mikel. The singles push forward at right back. Mikel's looking in other directions. Lampard. Fizz it to the feet of Drogba. Chelsea have done for so many years. They so often responded on the big day with big moments like his opening goal. Up towards Adebayor. Beaten by Cahill. Setanta, tight on Ramirez. Lennon, lovely take. And Ashley Cole, arguably England's best ever left back, breathing down his neck. In there again. Lennon was in England's last World Cup squad, but he hasn't played since, partly through injury, partly through maybe a lack of belief by Fabio Capello, but he's gone now, so a good showing by Lennon today could get him back into the international reckoning. Lampard. Cole crossing early, met by Gallas, but he's only stabbed it as far as Kalou. For Drogba, is he in here? It's a corner.
Weak from Gallas again, poor outside of the box, it's his mistake. King does well, gets himself across, reads the play, strong in the challenge. There is probably a reason why Drogba spent most of the time in that left channel. Ledley King's just demonstrating why.
Ledley King looking gingerly in his movements there. Drogba pulling away and chest it down. Cahill! So he is one of those centre-backs who has an eye for goal. He's a very good all-round footballer, Gary Cahill.
He's excellent, he's got good technique. Just slices this one slightly. Can't get over the ball. He's got good technique. First saw him as a young player playing for Aston Villa reserves. And then I thought he was one for the future. Certainly he's gone on to be very good.
Well, there's no offside here. Chelsea wanted it. Here's Adebayor. Bale. Adebayor again. Now Modric. Walker did start off as a striker, as a young man. He's still young now, but as a teenager at Sheffield United. He's got to use his pace to get back. Mata plays it early. Ramirez, no surprise that he's on the run. Needs a bit of technique here. Well, it's a pass into an area that Chelsea can fill first with Drogba. You do feel we're at a stage where either team could score. Game has opened up so much. Drogba and Kalou. Ramirez comes back to Kalou. Can't get a shot away or a pass away. Walker plays it away to Lennon. Can't take your eyes off the second FA Cup semi-final. 20 minutes to go if it's going to be settled in 90. Tottenham 1, Chelsea 2.
Looks like a few tired bodies out there as well. All of a sudden, good pace of game that's been played at. 70 minutes gone by, a few with the hands on the knees. That'll only be good for the game as well.
Mata. Cole. Lampard. For Drogba. Spurs just about stand firm. Terry's got to get back on his feet because Tottenham sensing another possibility to break here with the pace of Bale, who knows he's got the beating of Basingwa, and gets his cross in splendidly on the sprint. And within seconds, Spurs are at the other end and they've got a corner.
Cahill does well, but Basingwa must be terrified when he sees Bale at full tilt like that.
Van der Vaart will take the corner. It's met by Drogba. Defender, striker, cheerleader, organiser. Strong man physically, strong man mentally. Chelsea will need all that strength from him and the others now. Van der Vaart, it's almost forced in by Ledley King. It's another corner. Tottenham smelling blood here. In the end, it's Basingwa to hoist it away. The referees have stopped it. Drogba's down.
I think he's saying he's fine. Does so well because he just attacks the ball, makes sure he's the first point of contact as the ball gets whipped in. Great for the centre halves. You've got a centre forward who wants to take that sort of responsibility. It's just his landing's awkward here. Yeah, Cope fine with that.
Oh, Drogba has a reputation of over-egging the pudding in these situations. That's why the Tottenham fans are having a go at him. I think if he'd just got up a bit quicker, the physio wouldn't have come on and Drogba could have stayed on. Sometimes players around the stricken player should be checking and say, do we want him on? Are you okay? Not going to matter too much, but had it been another corner, for example, Drogba wouldn't have been there to try and head it in.
No, and if they weren't 2-1 ahead, he probably wouldn't have been either.
Well, Jermaine Defoe, who lives and breathes scoring goals, is a good man for Tottenham to have available from the bench in these circumstances. Parker. Terry teeing it up for Chet's kick, which had plenty of height again. He certainly does get underneath the ball when he shovels it away. And goes out to Okoto. It was worth the gamble, but the gamble didn't come off. Ramirez. Bale, who has played at left back, of course, covering back in. Basingwa. Then he ran for Mata. Defoe is ready to come on. Here's Adebayor. He fouls, free kick for Chelsea. Tottenham will make their change. Could be Adebayor going off. Well, it's Van der Vaart. So it's Adebayor and Defoe. Try and combine here.
I can't be convinced by Van der Vaart. I know he's got great ability. I'm just not sure it gives you enough in his overall play. Certainly when you're playing against these top sides, I think he can dominate in a side where Tottenham are dominating a game. He gets himself in good positions. He can take up those sort of passenger areas where you get him in the space between midfield and attack. But against a good side like Chelsea, I'm not sure it gives you quite enough.
Oh, Drogba. Well, King was labouring, as he often will in those circumstances. It's fantastic that Ledley King's playing at all. Let's not forget that.
He's looking for his goalkeeper here. He does Kudicini, get him out of trouble.
Lampard in no hurry. Drogba a whisker away from maybe giving the insurance goal that Chelsea need. Could come from this corner, of course. Singwa. Cole. Couldn't quite find Lampard. Chelsea want to squeeze Tottenham in here. It's risky. Oh, very risky indeed. And Ramirez throwing a difficult volley. Modric, tidy feet, tidy pass. Bale, Defoe in the middle, Lennon's there as well. Cahill's done well to dispossess the Welshman.
Great defending, really good defending, because he was left isolated. You don't like that as a centre-half. You have someone, particularly with Bale's strength and pace, running at you, but he did really well, Cahill.
Chelsea believe that the way to get through to the final is to keep on the front foot. They don't feel quite as secure defensively. Well, they have been punctured by the Bale goal. And they have looked dangerous when they've attacked. They're doing that at 2-0 and at 2-1. And here's Ramirez! That could be that. Being on the front foot was the right policy. A third Chelsea goal, and absolutely no doubt about this one.
Fugasso needs to track the runner better. King, he looks like he's struggling a little bit. There's a big hole that he ran into, Ramirez, and we know he likes to run, but it's a great finish as well. Shows really good composure at the end. Asukoto's wide with it. Must be a hint of offside. Oh no, it's the right back, gets pushed right in. I did think he was beyond the centre-backs, and he certainly was. But it's, as you often see, the player on the far side of the pitch ends up playing a player onside. This time it's Walker. It's a great finish. Ball sits up beautifully just to get a bit of a foot underneath it. Surely Chelsea home and dry.
Well, he might think so. Well, Ramirez, another member of the new Chelsea, just recently signed a 5-year extension to his terms with the club. Here's Asukoto. Tottenham need to hit back straight away, and Singwa would have been very risky to try and just knock it back for Czech to clear, particularly on the goalkeeper's right foot, which is weaker side. Anyway, it's a corner. Collected here by Lennon for Tottenham. Drogba prepared to take 2 touches in his own penalty area. The last time They did face each other in the FA Cup. It ended with a replay win for Chelsea at Tottenham, but the game at Stamford Bridge did finish 3-3. No replays when you get to the semi-final stage these days. That's been the case for several years now, since that famous Ryan Giggs goal at Villa Park for Manchester United against Arsenal. Here's Modric. Oh, and Martin Atkinson. Whether he actually saw that, there was Drogba turns on Mata's offside if he plays it. Drogba realises that.
He's beaten Gallas up today.
Yeah, and Gallas is booked.
He really has dominated him physically, isolated him very early on, got his goal from doing it. He's now got him booked. Is this handball? Don't think it is even. And it hits the point of the shoulder. Never getting those. Certainly not when the arm's not even remotely outstretched, and it's, I think your shoulder, obviously you can use your shoulder as well, so very, very harsh. He's had a tough day, Gallas.
Joe Jordan with Harry Redknapp. Joe played in a FA Cup final in his Manchester United days. Lampard shot. Oh my goodness! Talk about icing the cake. Frank Lampard produces an extraordinary free kick. And when we expected a tight and tense semi-final decided by the odd goal maybe, Chelsea lead by 4 goals to 1.
Well, he lines up, and it's one you expect him to be thinking, I'll put it about 20 rows back and buy myself a bit of time. Start your Barcelona preparations now, Chelsea, because you are in the FA Cup final. This ball moves an awful lot, but Cudicini shouldn't be getting beat from here when he starts that side of the goal.
Did it come off Scott Parker on the end of the wall? Certainly played tricks on Carlo Cudicini.
Substitution for Chelsea. Coming off the field, number 7,
And Frank Lampard, the nephew of the Spurs manager. As I said, family ties forgotten out on the Wembley pitch. Well, I suppose they will say in the end, Chelsea, well, we got enough goals to show we deserved to win the game. That contentious one, but that came at such a crucial time, so early in the second half, to make it 2-0.
You still have to get decisions right. You can't say that. It just doesn't work like that. The tempo of the game gets changed. Spurs had to open themselves up to attack. It changed the whole dimension of the game completely.
Ramirez off. Flora Malouda. There's another whose time with Chelsea seems to be drawing to a close. But here he is. Not quite as quick as he once was. Happens to us all. And, Fernando Torres is going to get a piece of the semi-final as well. Bale. There's a big goal-scoring semi-final, wasn't the last year. Gary Cahill was on the wrong end of that with Bolton.
Be interesting to get the goal scorers the last time Spurs lost 4-1 in a semi-final.
That was in 1995.
Happy to talk you through it if required.
Well, you might have a moment or two to do it. Amakachi. Drogba is going to go via the slow route. Yes, it was Everton 4, Tottenham 1 at Ellen Road. This is Chelsea 4, Tottenham 1 at the new Wembley.
Substitution for Chelsea. Coming off the field, number 11, Didier Drogba.
Tantalising for Cudicini. Absolutely terrific for Frank Lampard. Well, Drogba has been the real Drogba, the Wembley Drogba, the Drogba perhaps of bygone times we don't see so often these days. But when he is at it, Chelsea certainly are. He's the strong voice in the dressing room. Fernando Torres could do with a dose or two of Drogba's confidence.
Well, he's earned the right to be like that, Drogba, hasn't he? Because he's been a sensational player here. Good individual, great talent, strong, looks after himself really well, has had a fantastic career. He's certainly made this place very, very special to himself.
Defoe. Modric. And Lampard intercepts, and Chelsea feel this rivalry with Tottenham very keenly. Might not want to sit on this 4-1 lead for the last 5 minutes or so. Mikel.
They'll do well if they're 4-1 up in the next game, for sure, Chelsea.
Well, there'll be some fatigue, but of course the morale will be boosted almost beyond belief. I mean, winning the semi-final was going to be a tall enough order against a Tottenham team that's above them in the Barclays Premier League. But to win it like this, Torres. It's a thoughtful ball from Walker. And from Bale. And Adebayor looked a bit weary setting off there. But so much hinged on this. And we've seen it time and time again. Are we sure? That angle, the whole of the ball, over the whole of the line, Matt Jackson.
Well, Asukoto's feet are above the line and it hits his feet, so it has never crossed the line. It just hasn't, it just isn't a goal.
Well, I think if it is a goal, it's John Terry's goal in the end. I don't know whether that will be ruled upon later. Terry came away thinking as though he'd scored, as did Mata peeling away on the far side.
It certainly brings the phrase dubious goals committee.
Yeah, there isn't one. I don't think there is one for the FA Cup. It's there for the league, but
I think it can just be called a dubious goal.
Yeah,
just say it was 3-1.
Yeah. Chelsea might withdraw it now. As they're looking for number 5.
Cruel on Spurs, I think, after their first half performance. They wouldn't have expected to be losing 4-1 at the end of this game with how well they played in the first half.
And how well they dug in at 2-0 after that goal to hit back so quickly. 7 minutes later, Gareth Bale scored. Chelsea lost David Luiz, which is one of the black marks on today for their Champions League hopes. But Ivanovic isn't suspended in Europe, it's only a domestic ban.
I just might be a little bit worried if I was a Spurs fan now for the near future for this team. Harry's own position as well, obviously some doubt about that, and they've been great this year, but I'm just not sure. King, they obviously have to resolve that issue. Defoe's not been happy. Bale's been courted by many clubs.
To be fair to Harry Redknapp in terms of his options at the back, Michael Dawson's out for the rest of the season. Yunus Gabul picked up an injury recently. Here's Mikel for Chelsea. Blue wasn't the colour yesterday, but according to the Chelsea song, it is very much so today. on. It's kept in by Malouda. Oh, and he was trying to put it onto Torres' head. And he could have just rolled it back for Kalou.
Look at Gallas. Watch Gallas's reaction here. Look at Gallas there now. That is so poor. That really is poor. It's poor execution in the end, but attitude-wise, very, very disappointing from Gallas.
It's going to be a big helping of added time. 5 minutes we're hearing, which give Chelsea another route towards goal number 5.
Neither side want 5 minutes of extra time. They'll be quite happy to call it quits right now.
Interesting to cancel Frank Lampard's views on goal line technology after what happened to him when an England shirt in the World Cup and the ball was significantly further towards the net than it was. Chelsea got their second here, but here's some strength from Adebayor, and it's Cahill. As he was fouled by Adebayor, I think it's going to be a free kick against and a booking for the Spurs striker.
It's actually a very poor challenge, a real lunging one. Cahill kicking through. Doesn't really catch him full force.
Yeah, it could have been a really nasty one, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the foot's high. He knows what he's doing there.
Well, from the moment, really, Fabio Capello left, to be fair to Harry Redknapp, the next game for Tottenham, they beat Newcastle 5-0. But there are all sorts of factors, as you mentioned earlier, Matt. But certainly the thought that the manager might be leaving for England, but there's been no approach from the FA yet, and they're beating at the national stadium of this magnitude. It's certainly not what Harry would have wanted for the obvious club reasons, but for the England situation as well. But he is still the leading contender. Mata. Another late Tottenham challenge, and don't need to go out with the wrong kind of fight here. Mikel Parker wants to really get involved, which fortunately is being stopped, and John Terry is former captain when they were together at Chelsea, and his recent England cap. Of course, Parker was the last England captain here. What's Martin Atkinson going to make of this?
Book him and end the game. I think it's the best thing to do.
Certainly going to book him. Mikel, is he going to escape? There's part in it, I doubt it. That little kick out at the end would set Parker's blood boiling.
Yeah, because Parker's actually offered him a hand to pick him up as well.
Well, the metaphorical bucket of cold water on Scott Parker is being substituted.
Oh, no one's tried harder than him today. Set up the goal, made numerous tackles, did a really good job, gets a pat on the head from Harry, as he should do, gives his all every game.
Sandro comes on for the last knockings. Here's Mata, and it's a great chance for 5, and 5 it is for Florent Malouda to rub further salt in Tottenham's wounds. I can't really believe it down in the Chelsea dugout, but Roberto Di Matteo has brought something. He's certainly brought some credentials to getting the job full-time. A fantastic 5-goal showing in the end. And Harry Redknapp's on the wrong end of it.
Well, once again, straight balls beyond the centre halves. I mean, they've been totally undone. It's harsh on Spurs. They've given up the last 10 minutes. Harsh on Harry, harsh on his team. Not a reflection on their season. Good finish from Malouda. Ball again just sits up nicely. Got to feel a bit for Kudachini. His day couldn't really have been much worse.
Today's Budweiser man of the match is Chelsea number 11, Didier Drogba.
Here's Bale. A very sound choice from the sponsors for the man of the match here, Didier Drogba, who set the tone.
Well, he can play up front and he occupies a back four on his own, and that gives so much scope for the rest of the team to then go and play, and it's been demonstrated perfectly here today at Wembley.
Well, Tottenham just want to get off, get in the bus, get home. And he's seen most things in his long and distinguished managerial career, but this will be one of the worst days. And it did so much hinge on a controversial second Chelsea goal. It seemed a stroke of big fortune for Roberto Di Matteo and his men. Chelsea's love affair with the new Wembley continues. The manager, who was a star player for Chelsea at the old Wembley, guides them to the FA Cup final. It is Chelsea's 4th FA Cup final in 6 seasons. And on the day they were scheduled to play Liverpool at Anfield, they will instead face them here, with the world watching on May the 5th. Spurs beaten by a bogey side. 1-0 down at half-time to a smashing goal from Drogba, and then a goal perhaps that shouldn't have been, to make it 2-0. Gareth Bale immediately got one back, but Spurs fell apart with Ramirez, Lampard, and then Malouda. And the officials will be quizzed on that contentious moment. Final thoughts from you, Matt Jackson?
Well, great entertainment. I just don't think Spurs, despite how well they played, could really cope physically. They've been soundly beaten. This could destroy them.
Beaten by a bogey side, beaten by real specialists in this stadium. For them, a 6th FA Cup semi-final defeat since their last success at this stage in 1991. Another day when the officials will be making the headlines, but take nothing away from Chelsea. Around that contentious goal, they were superior to Spurs, as the scoreline shows. Final score, the second semi-final, it is Tottenham 1, Chelsea 5.
Live SPL this weekend on Setanta Sports. On Saturday night, it's St Johnstone versus Dundee United. And then Sunday night, Motherwell host the new champion Celtic. Live SPL this weekend on Setanta Sports.
There's no better bet than a sporting bet. Place a head-to-head bet on the AFL. If your team wins by 30 points or more, you win a 20% bonus. So if your team wins big, you win big. For AFL, there's no better bet than a sporting bet.
To you by the new Adidas MyCoach Speed Cell.
Highlights we would have to show you at the end of this second semi-final. There are bags of them. That perhaps wasn't one of them. Didier Drogba was just getting ready.
Well, it was a fairly poor sighter. It's a foul in the build-up. Pretty awful technique there, but that was the worst thing he did. And after that, he was excellent.
Kyle Walker caught hesitating by Kalou. And Juan Mata. At this stage, the game didn't have many clear-cut openings, but that was one of them.
Chelsea didn't really counter-attack all day. This is one of the rare opportunities Only comes from the two players, from a mistake by Walker as well. Mata probably should do better as the ball comes in. It's a good ball that gets played to him. Maybe should do better with his touch. But Spurs, at the time, looked the better counter-attacking side.
And this is Emmanuel Adebayor. John Terry, who was trying initially to deal with the cross, saw the danger after Van der Vaart's second header beat Czech, and he kneed it off the line.
Yes, it was the first of a few clearances off the line that were slightly better talking points. Decent contact, gets himself in a good position like all defenders, good experience. Petr Cech delighted to get him out of trouble.
Well, this could have been a freakish goal. Van der Vaart looking for Adebayor with a pass. As the ball carrying on and striking the post.
Adebayor's movement's very good, coming across. I think he should make some sort of contact. I think he should get to that himself. Cech, a horrible situation, can't dive for the first one in case he does get the touch, and delighted to see it hit the upright.
Played forward by Lampard, who knows all about Drogba, and he isolated Gallas, ex-Chelsea, and slammed it past Kudicini, ex-Chelsea.
They gave Gallas an absolutely torrid afternoon. But the one thing Gallas does, he doesn't allow him to roll him inside. Once he takes that touch, he's quite happy. Once he takes that touch, he's not quite so happy.
Right at the start of the second half, Drogba involved, but it was Mata's shot, and Kudicini made a splendid save.
He does really well because he's expecting Drogba, and he moves his feet. Look how quick he moves his feet, gets a stride in, and then gets a really strong left hand on the ball as well.
On the corner, David Luiz with a header, then Terry piling in. Mata thinks he's forced it in. And the goal is given by referee Martin Atkinson. And the assistant on this near side, Mick McDonough.
Well, I don't know where to start. It's a foul, that's a foul. That doesn't cross the line, but let's give a goal anyway. Impossible for them to make a decision. I can't believe that Martin Atkinson will come out and say that I clearly saw that cross the line.
Well, there is no evidence, and they say television technology should come in. We've shown this countless times, and they haven't proved that the ball has crossed the line. But great response by Tottenham. Parker's ball through the heart of Chelsea's defending. David Luiz injured. Cech would have been sent off, but the fact the ball rolled to Gareth Bale, and there was a goal-scoring opportunity that Tottenham took so eagerly, and a great response, but it didn't get any better than this for Spurs.
It didn't, and actually they might have been better off taking the penalty and going up against the 10 men as well, but it was a smashing first ball from Modric to Parker. Parker's was even better. Luiz caught out, poor defending, simple tap-in for Bale. Spurs at this point are right back in it.
But not for long. Kyle Walker's the culprit here. He's attracted by Drogba. He wants to mark Drogba, and in doing so he plays Ramirez onside.
That's why Drogba's such a threat. He really creates that goal without playing any part in it whatsoever, just because of that physical strength, and players know that they have to go in. Can't take a chance, gets the right side, and then Ramirez. But it's poor from Asukoto, he's too wide as well. Ball sits up really nicely for Ramirez, for the coolest of finishes.
And that really opened the floodgates towards the end of the second semi-final. Frank Lampard probably thinking, well, I'll have a pot. He looked as surprised as any of us, really.
I mean, you look at the goalkeeper's position from behind the goal, he shouldn't be getting beaten from here. Takes the stride the wrong way, the ball flies, does move in the air, just buries itself in the right hand. Side netting. He'll be disappointed, Kudicini.
And right at the end, Florent Malouda, whose time is running out, I think is a Chelsea player, but the memory here. Nice ball back from Mata. Tottenham absolutely down and out, 5-1.
And Harry, not too many options at centre-half, but I'm not sure how many times these two can really play together again.
Emphatic.